Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Stasis Bone Totem, where we're in a compartment full of bloated, drowned bodies. And honestly, of the three members of the party, we are probably doing the best. So that's the situation. That's a position to be in. What do we got here? Ivan Goncharov, operations party representative. I hear this guy's very popular on Tumblr. 14th March 82. Akula mission review. We're testing the Akula message relay system in a region beyond the reach of the Five Eyes. Akula will allow us to transmit and receive messages at depths previously thought impossible. 32 crew, 8 officers, 5 warrant officers, and 19 petty officers and seamen. You know, I have literally no idea what a warrant officer is, like how it varies from a... Gosh, I don't know much about military organization. Titanium reinforced hull for cable cutting and covert intercepts. He's got timestamps and everything. At 1:32, they departed Severomosk, diesel-electric hybrid running at 55% output on course for Isla Isabela, Galapagos. First contact. April 1st. Surfaced at 5:05. Our cover picked us up immediately, transferring Akula to Lima. 7:20, held position southeast of reference point Isla de San Cristobal in the Pacific. 8:02, dived 255 feet and headed away from the mainland. 12:43, deployed Akula. Extremely low frequency, 3000 Hz, transmission test 1, 12 seconds on repeat. Completed and conducted by Dmitry Gronk. 1400 hours, changed course for Peru Chile Trench for the second deployment of Akula. The next day, confirmation, ULF transducer received test 1 transmission. The next day, dove to 2500, deployed Akula, extremely low frequency, 1000 Hz. Completed and conducted by Dmitry Gronk, dove... it says dived to 2200 feet, but that is a going upward maneuver. Deployed Akula, extremely low, even lower frequency test. Completed and conducted by Dmitry Gronk. April 4th, there's a lot of detail in here. Remember when I was complaining about how we couldn't be certain of the relativity of events between different logs because people weren't writing down what day their entries were on? Well, don't I look like a fool? 1621 came to 48 feet. 1634 sighted possible U.S. Pacific Patrol bearing 040 degrees. Changed course to 015 degrees. Sighted reconnaissance plane at 2 miles distance. Additional aircraft contact on radar at 10 miles. So submerged back to 100 feet. Closed 9 miles and maintained position. 1738 heard distant explosions, 10-minute intervals. 1812 explosions closer, approximately 3 miles, 5-minute intervals. 1813 picked up propellers bearing north. 1845 explosions closer, approximately 1 mile, 2-minute intervals. And then, yeah, they dove fast, but you're getting shockwaved. Submerged to 7180 feet, maximum operating depth. We count 100 depth charges at 3,000 feet to 6,000 feet. Enemy pings northwest. All halt, running absolutely silent. This is... you would never get me in a submarine. Multiple sonar contacts, north, northwest, and southeast, approximately 4 miles away. Yeah, they are certainly trapped. Lieutenant Burke ordered make ready the stern tubes. Order overruled by Captain Nikolai Boynia due to operational secrecy. Multiple sonar contacts, south, southeast, and west. Submerged to ocean floor, far exceeding operational limits. Depth unknown. You should not do that. Entered an extensive cave system to avoid depth ping. Okay. So this is how they ended up here. It's not that they were looking for something. It's that they were performing some sort of covert tests. They got pinged by the Americans and they had to flee and try to hide. Then this cave entrance collapses behind them, and so they end up setting up their signal here, and this is what brings Kane Corp eventually. Catastrophic engine failure, hull breaches, etc. Because we're way below effective depth. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. Malfunction in the diesel engines has consumed a large portion of the oxygen. O2 bleed caused by the suffocation of Petty Officer Boris Komarov. Contained fire in hydraulic and shafting systems. Electrical fire in forward control damaged the depth gauging and the echo sounding system. Alright. And on the 6th of April, just one note. Well, the fire's been contained. Alright, translated / decoded. April 8th. Today I made a shocking discovery about the captain. As we sat in cramped quarters, he pulled out a small cross from under his shirt and began to pray silently to himself. At first I was taken aback. As a good Soviet citizen, I have been taught to uphold the principles of the state and reject any form of religious worship. In a world where we are constantly surrounded by danger and uncertainty, it must give him a sense of comfort and strength to turn to a higher power. If I were in his position, I would want to hold on to anything that could bring me hope and solace. Strength... okay, whatever. Let's not get into my feelings about organized religion. Alright. What's going on in this next room? Okay, doesn't look any better here. This body lies twisted into awkward contortions due to an arm pincered between shifted counters. The gaping mouth projects a silent scream of pain. Moses, just don't look at the faces, okay, buddy? The knocked-aside counter holds rusted cooking utensils and pots that lie in the depths of its upturned shelving. The stack of cargo, weighed down by rotten sheets, steel containers, and waterlogged trunks, filled with supplies and spares, is unfazed by feeble struggling. A scattering of sealed food tins and containers, mostly intact, lie haphazardly strewn about the floor. Oh, we have some good plastic junk over here. A tray of plastic plates and empty cans sits atop an oxidized stove. Beyond the mud-streaked oven door, a bowl of decayed slop sprouting hours of algae is visible. Long perished foods lurk at the bottom of food tubs, sprouting miniature forests of tendrilled plant life. The food lockers are bare, dashed, or torn open. Any food they once contained either looted or washed away. Can I still squeeze through here? Yeah.
My friend, you are closer.
Very scared, very frightened.
You're our only chance, Bear. You're all we've got.
Hope is alive.
Mac, I don't know if that's the right motivational strategy in this situation. These remains lie tangled in refuse, likely vomited into the chamber by floodwaters, along with the other detritus tossed about. Soiled plates, mugs, and cutlery nestle in a cluttered mess within the wash basins.
Oh, no, no. Dead things. I do not like dead things.
Moses, listen.
Cannot do this. I am not strong enough. I was not strong enough then.
My friend, you are right. You were not strong enough. And there is no fault in that.
I am failing. Again.
Those feelings. Lies. Push forward. Push forward, and I will prove it to you.
Hope.
Here, strength does not matter. Only courage.
Charlie Mac.
Push forward.
I mean, can I do that even? Can I? I would need some way to dislodge these bodies. I mean, I have a grenade. This would be a fucking... Spinning the disc makes a fun noise. No, okay. Even I kind of turned away from the monitor a little bit before pressing that one. I mean, I could just, like, prod them. What if I just poke them? No? The grenade would solve this problem. It's probably not, like, a great idea for my safety. There was descriptive text here. Caught and crushed into the doorway by onrushing waters, the remnants of 3 mangled figures have bloated and merged to form a corpulent plug. Ugh, well... These are really acidic, right? Ugh. Okay, well, I dislodged it. We broke off some of the middle, and then, you know, they were no longer wedged, so they just sort of dislodged entirely. To some degree, I'm very thankful to the game for not showing us that. Even though if the game had shown it to us, I would have been like, oh, rad. Listen, I don't know what's good for me. Nobody knows what's good for me. The lid shows signs of damage. Attempts to break or pry open a stubborn container. Jaggedly cut straps dangle from pilfered storage containers. This twisted cadaver slumbers under a blanket of scrap and slime. Over here, a ladder bears ample evidence of dents and deformation caused by colliding debris and cargo. That is a really huge body. I mean, I know it's blown up because of the water and everything, but geez. This pustulant balloon lies deposited like a beached whale, a quick death during turbulent transit. I guess in this situation, that's really all you could have asked for. A tangled knot of heavy-duty wiring and plastic piping lies jumbled and twisted in this alcove. A maintenance hatch hides behind a mound of mud and refuse, a missing handle rendering it inoperable from this side. Footprints and drag lines of dried sludge lead up and down the ramp and into the chamber beyond. The familiar Soviet... It's really hard to get the mouse to stay on this. The familiar Soviet banner hangs laxly, rot and mold crawling up like rats, fleeing flooding waters.
I see stairs. I see air.
One more push, my friend. One more effort.
Stay, Ferran. Please.
I... try.
Alright, crossing complete. The prop shaft connecting the engines to the propellers has rusted stock. You know, that doesn't really seem like this sub's greatest problem. A swarm of cabling and tubes, many torn open or severed, seethes out from under the engines and snakes into wall-mounted sockets. The lower levels are completely flooded by squalid decoction-like liquids, the surface gently caressing the underside of the grating. Alright, well, Moses has had enough water for right now, thank you.
Air. Light. No water.
Well done, my friend. Well done.
Moses, are you through? Are you okay?
I am brave. And strong.
Yeah. I'll say. Look for the suits now. Like Ferran said, they'll be near the engines, probably a level below.
Okay, well, a level below is underwater. That's fine, we'll figure it out. The soiled flag drapes over the engines, erected in a display of national and mechanical pride. And here, a battery station. A replaceable battery provided power to energy-efficient mission-critical systems, like electrically managed doors, should all other power systems fail. Unfortunately, it has been removed for service elsewhere, exposing the power jack terminal. I was going to say, hey, we have a battery charger.
These controls are hard to understand.
Yeah, tell me about it. Old military tech in a language that's not spoken anymore. The suits are gonna be below you, Moses. And that's probably flooded too, I hate to say.
More water.
Yeah, but if we could get the engines running, that gives us power. And we could use the ballast tanks to clear it.
It is a diesel submarine. That fuel would be long since ruined. But it would have relied on batteries for silent running.
Those would be dead too.
Perhaps a substitute.
That was an interesting detail there. Not a language that we don't speak, but a language that isn't spoken. I don't think that that's a thing we knew prior. Well, I mean, I don't really have anything. Like, in theory, Max still has access to that battery charger, but what else is in here? Adasiak Novak, warrant officer. I was christened in Krakow by Cardinal, Wojtja? I don't know how to pronounce this character. Himself. But unfortunately, we left that place when I was young, and I have witnessed Orthodoxy's folly with my own eyes. So to see my dearest captain, Nikolai Boynia, spit at the state and give himself to this religious cult pains my heart. We have spent 5 tours together, considerably longer amount of time. I've tried to hide it from everybody, my companions and the party. I turned my cheek when he insisted on a Christmas toast to his savior. I turned my other cheek when he asked to hold hands and exchange Easter pisanki. I have no more cheeks to turn. I shall disclose his dogmatic religious mindset when we return to Severomorsk. 9th of May, we finally entered the flooded section after it was commanded to be sealed by Boynia. The smell was overpowering, a mixture of salt water, stale air, and rotting flesh. There was debris floating everywhere, papers, tools, even a pair of shoes. It was a mess. I can't even describe the shock and horror I felt when I saw the bloated bodies of those poor boys. A few men planned to use the escape suits. We excitedly rushed to the storage and found only 5. 5 for a crew of over 30. Thank you, Central Planning. We have agreed that if all cannot leave, none can. This is the spirit of our camaraderie. Is it, though? 16th May. It may be my hunger playing tricks on my now feeble mind and hungry body, or that infernal song playing over the speakers daily, but I had a vision. It was so real. Am I slipping into madness? It was as clear as day. They opened the 6th seal, and there was a great earthquake. The sun became black as oil, the moon red as blood, and pestilences arose from the ocean. Then, like a swarm of locusts, great clouds filled the air until the sky was blackened. Everywhere the cloud touched, madness entailed. Okay. Captain Nikolai Boynia said this is a sign that God has given to me, a phantasm, and a warning of things to come. I do not believe that. Dmitry Balabanov, Alexander Vyakarev, and Kirill Tokarev donned suits and left without a whisper. Ilyusha was not so lucky and got stuck when the hatch was sealed. His spine was crushed, but we heard him calling for his mama. I was forced to put my friend down like a lame mule. I am sure he would do the same for me. At first I was angry and betrayed. How could they do such a thing? We are all in this together. They broke the bond of trust that we had built over the years. But as the hours passed and the water continued to rise, I couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope for them. At least they can survive, seek help, and possibly be rescued. The fear of starving is primal. They acted out of desperation and self-preservation, but I regret there was no chance to say our final words. So that was June 1st, this is June 2nd. We all saw the shadows on the wall again. Are they real? I can't tell anymore. I need help to distinguish the real from my starving-induced imagination. The captain has again taken a turn for the worse. He now pours himself into the books and the testaments. He says my vision is a sign that we must lead a war against shadows. He insists we pray while he finds the answer. I should never have told him. The captain has confided in me his plans to arm the warhead. He says it is the only way to rid the world of the coming pestilence. He removed the shielding from one of the cores, but Georgie held him back. The fishing corps burned their faces and arms. They fought brutally up top. Oh, this madness bears no end. I've sealed the hatch. I don't know how long I can keep it shut. The men are calling my name. Captain Boynia calls me Abaddon, Judas and Shittim, and cries for me to open his lima and save the world. I am sure they have booby-trapped the hatch. There are no more noises, no more calls or curses, no more begging or crying. I am returning to my station, a proud Soviet man. I mean, you know, honestly, it's one of the less crazy responses we've seen to this whole thing. But, like, what kind of response really qualifies as not crazy in a situation like this? Right? It's so extreme that applying sort of normal measurements of behavior to it doesn't really seem all that useful. Portions of the banner have been cut and torn away, the pieces used as bedding or binding elsewhere, the emblem defiled in the face of desperate survival. There's something over here.
The toy cannot lift this. 94% accuracy prediction. Restore power to articulate the hatch.
Okay. Well, not really sure how to do that, honestly. Monstrous twin diesel engines run the length of the room, faintly reeking of petroleum, burned plastic, and copper. Ancient runnels of bleeding oil stain the machinery, while piping weaves along the surface like branching veins. Piles of exhausted non-perishables litter the corners of the chamber. And below the grating, under a swarm of corroded wiring, sit over a dozen lead-acid batteries, engulfed in rust and acid stains. Okay, so we gotta figure out this battery station situation. Just rub the warhead against it. Let the energy flow forth. Yeah, I don't have a good sense of... Alright. What else? What else could we be doing? Charlie still needs to figure out a way to get out of here. We have some powerful acids, but not powerful enough, apparently. We have Big Saw. We know she won't use the Big Saw. We do know that, right? I mean, you know, this is a heavy metal door. It probably wouldn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, none of this other stuff's gonna work. I tried this, right? Yeah. Put the food on it and wait and see if... No, okay. Alright, what about Charlie? Mac. What about Mac? We still have this door situation. We still have the braking cable. But the braking cable doesn't really need to be fixed until we figure out how to deal with the other stuff anyway, right? Because we can't go down until the water wheels are corrected. So... So mayhap we have reached... I mean, let me go look. It is possible that interacting with the braking cable will give me some kind of something that would be useful. Oh.
Okay. It's good to go. Should be able to descend without killing myself now.
Mac, please, hurry.
Wait, will that actually do it? That's interesting, because it's a vivisection tool and it's sharp on the ends, and we were told that it was not a good idea to cut the cable. I would not have imagined that you could use this thing like this to create the tension. Whatever, it's fine. But I still can't go down until the other thing is dealt with, right? Yeah, the water flow is blocking descent. Okay. It's something. It didn't help, but it's something. It'll be important later. And it takes an item out of our inventory, which is cool. Reduces the amount of stuff we might need to throw at any other. Excuse me, to throw out any other situation to brute force it. So wait, is there another interactable? No, this is the only blue line in her life. Okay, is there a way to... I know. I was like, maybe the chain is stuck. Maybe we can't get the arming lever to move because of the chain. Maybe I need to melt it. This might be a thing where I need to figure out a combination of items, right? I can't imagine any of this stuff being punched. Can I use the electro scrubber to... I mean, it does emit electricity, right? No? Well, I'm gonna need something electrical, something battery-like to put into this slot. It does seem like we are at a point here where maybe like everybody is down to a single interactable point, and it's just a matter of finding the right mashup of items for whatever it is we want to do. Can I put the warhead back inside the casing? No. It's like, maybe we shouldn't be carrying this thing around in the open, right? Alright, what could be combined or utilized for any of these things? The mechanism on that door is just turning endlessly. Aha!
Got it open. I can reach the wheel now.
Smart, Mac.
Depends on what's behind it.
That's exactly what I was hoping would happen. I was like, if we could just get it to stick to the part on the top. Like, that whole time I'd been thinking, okay, we need something to push in there that's going to function like the key. But yeah, all we need to do is get the two metal tabs to stick to each other. So that was probably terrifying to do with your actual hands. Like, we could have gotten in here a long time ago. So, trickles of salty water run down the mismatched masonry, leaking in from hidden fractures within the stonework. Skeletal carpeting covers the floors as malfunctioning mechanisms cause a growing backlog of unprocessed bone. This man thing lies broken, dark fluids running from a shattered cowl and burst body. Pallid rubber skin and inhuman digits twitch with evaporating ghost life. That's pretty creepy. Barbed grating peels outward like a rent wound, admitting a chilly sea salt wind with a whiff of slaughterhouse waste. This mill twitches, clogged and overflowing with unrefined skeletal mass. Thick muck oozes from dripping strands seeping from the rocky ceiling, carrying with it a pungent odor of rotting sea life. You know what this feels like a lot to me? It's like older D&D adventures. I will admit, I have not read a published adventure in quite some time. I don't really... Not since 4th edition, at least. But it used to be like, when the party enters the room, read this paragraph of text to them. And that process, it feels like that process here a lot, where it's like every time I step in, it's like, okay, look at all the descriptives, and then start playing the game again. A titanic cog labors upon the wall, the rumbling toil of its radial spokes vibrating throughout the chamber like perpetual thunder. And over here, some kind of something. The milling stone should shear the bones rather than crush them, but a blockage in the mechanism has stalled the water wheel and seized up the machine. I agree. It
Grinding
should do
wheel
that.
Dislodged. Gotta disconnect the main wheel from the milling stone. Somehow.
Disconnect is something we're great at.
Wood piece got jammed in the rivets.
Can you get it out?
No. Tension from the wheels got it wedged. Only way, maybe, would be to cut it.
Wait, where? I don't even see the piece he's talking about. Fortunately, we have lots of tools for, like, destroy or dislodge a random object, right? We could throw something at it. We could...
Got it. Water wheel's free.
Way to go. Now get out of there.
Fast as I can.
That whole piece wasn't the wood piece that was dislodged, right? Because how would it have... Wait, how did this thing work before? I don't know. Whatever. If it's open, it's open. Let's get the fuck out of here. I guess the idea was that I thought that beam was part of the mechanism because it has like wheels on it that look like they are for interacting with the main milling wheel as it spins. But I guess maybe that was supposed to be a beam that had fallen across. I don't know. The important thing is we should be able to drop now. All right. Oh, what a shock. This thing isn't going to be able to take us back up. Who would have foreseen this? It's alright. There was nothing back up there for us anyway.
I don't know where. It looks like the solar system. What do they call it, this type of model?
An orrery. A map of the stars. Made by the people who have never seen them. Doubly amazing, is it not?
Okay, I heard that for sure.
I should hope so, brother. What good are thoughts if they cannot be spoken?
Who the hell are you? How are you? You're not on the radio, are you?
No, brother. My flock and I communicate through other more extravagant means.
Flock?
You have encountered them, only briefly to this point. But you will come to know them far more intimately, I fear.
The primitives? You're talking about the ones that live here?
I am. They are far from primitive. Where I come from, we have an adage. Never judge a man by where he drinks, only by how he holds it.
Okay, I think I get it now. One of us is crazy.
To be certain.
Great.
I know you have questions, brother, but time is short. Move forward, and all will be explained. Though I give no guarantee you will like the answers.
Cool, good, very normal. Dust-encrusted engravings line the outer ring, though it's impossible to discern their message or purpose. The pod dangles at the end of its tether, its mildewed stench overpowered by ancient dust. Trickles of water run down, quietly dripping onto the weathered steel below. A thick, dark lichen has spread along the walls, fed by waters falling from above. An orrery of clustered barbed gears and rings stands motionless, held in place by rust and dysfunction. Yo, same. Who among us? In the dim light, encroaching moss and dangling damp webs give the impression of flesh being flayed from the structure. Suspended globes shine with patina, an unrecognizable assortment of planets or celestial bodies. Tattered brambles of webbing knot and tether between the desiccated architecture, oscillating in the wind like skeletal waves. In the wind? What? Okay, well, I mean, this is something. A suspended crystal radiates waves of bilious light. The remains of a pier, sodden with rot. Any part of it that once hung over the water has long since collapsed into the waters below. Stringy clumps of gray matter clog the fetid waters like a swarm of decaying jellyfish. The roar of an unseen current passes underneath, hidden by darkness and dripping vapor. Quiet snaps and protesting creaks echo your footfalls.
I think there's a boat here.
Passage to where you must venture, brother. But you must free it first.
Thanks. Weird voice in my head.
Can the others hear him talking? They not obviously not the voice, but can they hear Mac talking to the voice right now? Because they're not responding at all, which is weird, right? This starving beast has been fastened to a massive pulley system. If fed the right food, the famished beast should be able to raise the sluice gate, and it just so happens I have some food. The stained interior of the rowing boat stinks of black smoke and tar. Still, it has thankfully remained dry despite a great decrepitude. So this, I guess, is where we would where we would place the food. Warped leather binds a skeletal frame of splintered wood. Below the surface, tendrils of pale matter cling to the fence like putrid coattails.
What in the hell?
A beast of burden, brother. In that, we have much in common.
So, it raises the door somehow. It lets the boat out.
I guess let's see. Let's get away from it quickly.
Controls are locked behind bars.
Well, that feels like extremely fixable, though, huh? Are these metal? What are these made of?
Hold on, Charlie.
All right.
Hold on.
Your time is running out, brother. A trait you all share, I'm afraid.
Who are you?
In such a weird variety of ways.
Speak, it feels like...
A dream? A fever dream?
yeah,
Sort of a waking
like
dream.
a hallucination, like it's not real.
It's all too real. It is nevertheless.
The contaminant?
It is far more than that, as we found. But yes, for those it has corrupted, it allows a commune. Shared memories, shared thoughts. It connects my flock. It connects me to them.
You know what they think?
Oh, yes, brother. Back through time to the beginning of it all. A disagreeable endowment.
If it works on me, if I can hear you,
Yes, the Velez is in you as well.
just like Charlie.
No, her condition is much more lamentable. Unlike you, brother, she was directly exposed to its corporal form. She has much less time.
This fucking place. What do you want? Who are you?
My name is Bonya, brother. Captain Bonya. You have seen my vessel. The rest, I imagine you can deduce for yourself.
The sub. The Russian sub?
The Lima, a powerful ship in her time. Alas, she was not strong enough for this place. Then again, none of us were.
That's impossible. The Soviet Union's been gone for centuries. There's no way you could still be alive.
Centuries? Has it been that long? In my state, time passes in a much less linear way.
What do you want, Bonya?
To help you, of course, brother. And for you to help me in return.
That sounds ominous.
Indeed. Beware Russian captains bearing gifts, you know? Come, brother, onward, into the lion's den. All will be explained. All will be revealed. You may even live to tell the tale.
I'm far less concerned about the Russian captain part of this, and far more concerned about the time ghost of my mind part, but you know, beggars and choosers, etc. I suppose we get to enjoy all of the parts of this that totally suck. How would there be bats?
Come before Cain.
Okay, never mind.
I humbly seek his protection. I ask that he watch over my wife. I ask that he keep her from harm. I ask, as I journey through this life, I ask that he lead me along the paths of righteousness. I ask that he bring me to the doors of the Nexus, where I may find eternal peace and happiness in his presence. Through his love and mercy, I place my trust in him. I place my wife's trust in him. May Cain's holy name be praised, now and forever.
Alright, well, now they all know exactly where Mac is as well, so that's comforting. Structure opening here. Okay. Backlit shadows of shuddering figures dance across the interior walls, while a sickening odor of cooking meat teases your nostrils.
Use caution, brother. Be silent.
Yeah, I get it.
It will alert others to your presence.
I get it, crazy voice. Thanks.
I don't really know how to be... I only have one way of moving through the world, you know? Reflected specks of distant bonfire light pierce the foggy pall that blankets the remains of the ancient city, the embers of malicious and ravenous life. The craft has run aground on a submerged mound of mud and collapsed masonry, rendering it as useful as the other stranded and upturned boats. Well, I mean, also, I don't think even if the boat could have continued forward, this is clearly low over the water. I don't think I would have been continuing forward. And that's one of the... I guess we're just crossing here, huh? As the upturned craft bobs underfoot, the tip-tap skittering of disturbing life can be heard as they hastily crawl along the underside. And this thing is, definitely aware of me, looking right at me. Over here we have some crucified corpses. That's fun. Blood still drips from the fresh corpses, hanging impaled and unwound onto the crosses that bear them, propped up as macabre greeting ornaments.
Someone tried to open this with their belt. They didn't make it.
You will need more leverage than the belt alone can offer, brother.
Huh. Well... we do have a bone. Boy, that's... Hold on, I'd like to see the mechanics of that again for a second. A fractured collection of beams desperately attempt to delay a subsiding ceiling. An odorous, waxy complexion roils and snakes across the surface of the water in repeated patterns, like a morbidly overgrown wasp nest. A sickly sweet scent of medicinal syrups emanates from the depths. Ugh, ew,
Oh,
gross.
Cain. This water, it's probably half blood.
Not just the water. This whole place is blood. Listen. Do you hear it?
It sounds like chanting.
Take solace, brother, in that it is the worst of what you will see, but still yourself, all the same.
Okay. The ancient stone supports strain and groan under the weight of the hewn blocks. Moldering remains of abandoned infrastructure strain against age and collective collapse. Again, not too dissimilar from home. Jesus fucking Christ. Blood is seeping from sacrificial wounds into the waterway below. The fluid-smattered masks worn by the executioners possess a sadistic, painted smile. A horrific scene of death, reeking of flesh and vomit. Agonizing cries of pain and shrieks from the brutalized slaves and prisoners are hidden by the melancholy music and guttural chanting. I mean, they're not that hidden. Well, this is fun. We're just gonna continue on here.
Mac, what are...
No, Charlie. Mute my channel. Don't listen. Don't watch.
The truth can only be denied so long, brother.
That's not how commas work. I am the kind of person for whom something like that will always overwhelm the terror.
Charlie, are you there? I'm safe now.
Mac, what was that?
You don't want to know. How are you doing?
Mac, I can't...
She is fading, brother. She is dying.
I'm coming, Charlie. Hold on.
They managed to find a way to get her line reads even slower. Rivulets of ichor trickle over the vine tendrils, staining them red before dripping into the corpse muck below. Foul blood oozes from tears and punctures that populate the coagulated mass of bodies, pouring into the waterway below. A net of glistening sinew drapes across the passageway like necromantic curtains. Whose job was it to... Oof. Wading through the thickening groom river of congealing blood and matted offal incites bubbles that vomit up distressing fetters of deep decay. And we're going to get out of the water at the very first opportunity here. You know, I almost said something in that last room about it feeling like a scene from Sanitarium, and then here we are. The Kane employee's uniform has been encrusted with old blood, bile, and a penetrating odor of expelled waste. Wait, is he wearing it? He looks naked to me. The marshy floor stinks of wet mud and rotting fish, further polluted by the milk-like fluids seeping out from a nearby corpse. Clusters of crystal shards puncture the stonework, their phosphorescence granting the small mercy of illumination. Is it in this place a mercy? Are we sure of that? The structure has partially collapsed, now filled with a dried clot of stone and mud. Over here, the silicon lifeform is irreparably damaged after being subjected to all sorts of abuse. And here, there is something at which to take a look, but I guess let's examine this PDA first. Nobody move or do anything while I'm reading this, please. Colin Frick, molecular biologist. Have we seen this name before? I don't know. We've seen a lot of logs at this point. My parents were planning to sign me up for the suicide lottery. They were prepared to trade my life for the amount that it would have cost the state to support me. I ask myself every day, was I such a failure that my life was worth so little? Is it worth more now? Then I try to think about something else, focusing on the good. The irony is that I joined Kane Corp to avoid the lottery. Local message blast to all survivors. Let's be optimistic, guys. Smile, even if you have to grit your teeth. Help is on the way. I rigged up the mill to charge our batteries. These fuckers are scared of good old-fashioned LED power. Everybody seems to be having the same dream, except for me. Bobby woke up screaming and bashed her head on the rocks. Jason hurled himself into the abyss, singing like a choir boy on his way down. They attacked while we were sleeping. That's a weird... it's weird for you to write in your personal log that as an entry in its entirety. I I'm not sure where they took us. They hung some of us in cages made of bones. I was put in a hole carved out of the wall with Liam James and a few others. There's some kind of grate keeping us in, but I think we can find a way out. The good news is, if they've found a way to survive down here, we might be able to as well. We just need to find a way to communicate with them. Local message blast to all survivors. I'm a fraud, okay? Stop asking me about the glowing fish shit they're feeding us. I'm not a biologist. My name is not Colin. I didn't even discover the parasites in the water. Al Kabur did. All I know is we don't have a choice. We have to eat what they give us, even if it makes us sick. Interesting. How would you fake the skills this... Look, I don't know how to explain what I've seen, but they didn't capture us in self-defense like I originally thought. They started taking us, one at a time. I don't know where they go, but when they bring people back, parts are missing. The stitching is controlled and surgical, as though done by a doctor. It's so precise. The taken ones don't usually survive long. I think they lose something important inside, organs or something. All I know is they moan for a while, and then the moaning stops. Others get taken and don't come back at all. I'm not sure which is worse, or which they'll do to me. The troglodytes carved up one of their own on a stone pillar below us. It looked like a sacrifice. Several of them removed his brain and his entire spine. Others watched and chanted. The rest of the body was left on the rock, and now it's rotting there. And what struck me more than anything is that the victim looked like he welcomed it. He wasn't fighting back. It seemed like it was an honor to die this way. Like it served some higher purpose. Alright, Liam and I are going to dig ourselves out. We could make it in a few weeks if the locals don't take us first. I've been giving half rations to Liam. We need to save some for when we get out. Then we'll find out what the troglodytes have been eating. We can make it. Barely, but we can. I know we can. Well, that's a grim final entry. I can't believe it's safe to walk in front of this open door.
Stop! Don't! Kane.
He is lost, brother. Some simply do not have the head for this place.
Tiny spines adorn the creature's front and hind tarsi. 6 disturbingly lanky appendages stand fast over a pile of human bones. Blood-soaked fangs tremble in frightening excitement as its numerous eyes search for the slightest movement. There's movement happening constantly, and also I've walked right in front of the door now, so... Okay. That's a big dog. I want to kill Behemoth with grenade.
You gotta be kidding me.
A marvel, isn't it, brother? Like all the life here.
I wouldn't go that far. That thing would rip me to shreds.
To be certain, you must find a way past, or a way to remove it.
Containment link, please stand clear. Containment link, please stand clear.
This one is less than human, or perhaps more. The marvels of your time.
The people here agreed with you. They tried to gut it.
Yes, brother, my part is enthusiastic in its path, if nothing else.
Really giving a lot of Father Grigory vibes here. Core systems disabled until leak containment. So it's suffering from a fluid leak right now. I don't really have anything that I feel like would seal it. I don't think I understand the mechanics of what happened there at all. Did I just lay that on top of whatever was leaking and hope that it would... Well, I mean, whatever. A power core is extremely the sort of thing we need.
Stand clear. Warning.
Oh, son of a...
Well, if I survive this, it's probably really good. Yeah, right? Provided that I found a way to survive. I guess I could have dropped back down where I came from.
Tempting fate. Should have listened, Pop. The last mail I'll ever get here. Last anything.
Failure to pay. Salvage operation permit revoked. Oh good. Well, that's going to make collecting on this other salvage somewhat more complicated, huh?
You're so fast. All you have to do is blink.
Yes, brother. Holy fire, a glorious solution.
Thanks. Sure got noticed, though. Sounds like I stirred up a hornet's nest.
Yes, brother, you draw attention wherever you go.
Okay. Gotta move.
Super weird that it took him that long to think of that idea. On the other side of the room, the prisoner's severed legs lay still, smoke rising from burned meat. A bloated, livid tongue protrudes obscenely out of the twitching insect's exposed orifice, blood oozing onto the floor. It is very dead. That's good. That's about the amount of dead that I needed it to be. Weird. The various sculptures replicate vague memories of the outside world, a reimagining of the distant forests and the beasts that lived within. By chance or design, the soft chirrups of insects residing within the sculptures vaguely resemble avian treetop banter. A towering structure cobbled together with bone, a skeletal depiction of a tree. Femurs and fingers, and ribs and the punctuation in these is bananas. Fingers and femurs, and ribs are bound together to form splayed branches and roots. Numerous reflective rocks have been lodged into the branches, possibly resembling fruit, flowers, or decorations. And here we have sort of a big dog. On the pedestal there rests a ghoulish canine edifice. Its demonic visage and split limbs are constructed solely from the improvised application of human bone. It's actually kind of impressive that they managed to get it looking that canine. A crude shack lined with rib cages and spinal ridges is dominated by a rising chimney with slack-jawed skulls. Is that what that's supposed to... How would you even... Okay. The two beasts are a chaotic amalgamation of human and animal parts, locked in an eternal confrontation, as tumultuous as their construction. Yeah, see, there's definitely an animal here. I don't see the... I guess the shack is really tiny. It's like just this little thing here. Thin strips of leather and dried skin have been pierced and woven into the branches to simulate leaves. Isn't that fun?
The Bone Orchard. Their homage to a surplus robe they can only imagine. Pulled from my memories, my emotions.
This is how you remember the world above?
Creative license, brother.
Where are we going? Where are you taking me?
Only where you must be.
I have to find my wife.
Then you have answered your own questions.
You said you wanted me to do something for you. What is it?
Nothing complicated, brother. Merely help me fix my greatest mistake, and in the process, save the world.
Is that all?
I have a vague feeling that I might have an understanding of what he wants us to do, and let's just say I'm glad we brought this warhead along. A tumultuous mess of bones has been knitted together to loosely resemble the spread wings of a bird-like figure about to take flight. Over here looks like maybe a doorway. Alright. Threads of dried phlegm creep across the mucus surface, crackling underfoot. Here, a draft of humid hot air tumbles from the tunnel beyond, prickling your skin with beads of sweat. So there's a way forward here. A syrupy brown liquid sweats from the walls and pools into the floor, reeking of fetid waste and honey. Warm to the touch, thick mucus milked from something unimaginable radiates heat and a cloying scent of wet dirt and rotting vegetables. Okay, so we have a couple of ways out of this out of this corridor. But I think before we examine either of them, why don't we just go ahead and call it right here for today's episode? Mac is making some serious progress, and everybody else is just going to have to wait. Although I do think we probably that android's power core is what's going to fix Moses' problem at the very least. But yeah, when you come back next time, we are definitely pushing forward with Mac, because I'm very curious where his storyline in particular is going at this point. So come back next time for that, and we'll see you then.